With Notion, you can build analytics dashboards that allow you to summarize important metrics for your business. This can be done using a combination of database views and formulas. The problem, though, is most people don't know how to get started and struggle to analyze data within their Notion workspace. That's why I have put together this video on how to build an analytics dashboard within Notion that looks just like this. Now, this example covers how to build a sales analytics dashboard, but your learnings from this video can apply to any other type of dashboard that you're wanting to create for your business. The end result of this video will be this beautiful formula that shows you the total customers you have, the total prospects, how many open deals, your total sales pipeline, your sales pipeline for how much you're expected to close this month, your revenue won this month, and revenue lost this month. Then we're also capturing what is your won versus lost deal percentage. To get started, you'll find a free Notion template within the description of this video that holds accounts and opportunities and some sample data for you to play around with. We've also built some great database views here for you to be able to look at and hopefully gain inspiration from when you're creating your own analytics dashboards in the future. Not to mention, you can use this sales analytics dashboard for your own business. So without further ado, I'll pass you along to our formula expert, and she'll be showing you how to build this sales analytics formula.
Hi everyone, my name is Ava and I am a Notion and no-code automation consultant. So to build a sales analytics dashboard, we will first have to create a new database and relate it to the accounts and opportunities databases. So let's go ahead and do that. Since we don't need the tags property, let's just go ahead and delete that. And let's also delete the 3 sample database records that come with the database. Now let's add a new relation property and link it to the opportunities database. And now we'll do exactly the same for the accounts database. So we'll just add a new relation property, link it to the accounts database, and toggle the show on accounts on. Next, we'll add a new database record in our sales analytics dashboard database and name it sales analytics. This way, we will be able to show the matrix that we define with our formulas. Now, it's really important to understand that for this dashboard to work, we need to connect all accounts and all opportunities to it, because the dashboard only shows data for the related database records. So to do that, we will first go to the opportunities relation and connect all of our existing opportunities. Then we will do the same for accounts. But what about our future opportunities and accounts? How do we automatically connect those to our sales analytics dashboard? There are a few different ways of doing that, but to keep things simple for the purpose of this tutorial, I will show you the simplest one using Notion buttons. So let's go back to our main dashboard. And above the dashboard heading, write slash and write button. We will configure this first button to add pages to our opportunities database using the default template. And since our default template already fills in the name, we'll just delete the property from our button. Then we will add the sales analytics property to our configuration and select our sales analytics database record. Now we will do exactly the same for accounts. We can just duplicate the new opportunity button and change the configuration. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't just add the sales analytics relation directly in the database template. The thing is, if we did that, our sales analytics dashboard will also show the database templates as one of the connected records. Consequently, it would show incorrect values. So here's an example. If we jump into the accounts database, then we have 10 accounts in total. Now, if we connected the sales analytics dashboard with the account database template, our sales analytics dashboard will show 11 accounts, which is incorrect. That is why it's important to connect accounts and opportunities at the time that they are created and not directly in the database template. All right, now that we have this covered, let's go back to our sales analytics dashboard. Let's just add an icon here. Good. Next, we're going to create 10 formula properties. One of them will be a supporting formula just so that some of our metrics formula will be easier to write. 8 of them will show individual metrics that we're interested in, and the last one will just put all of this data together in a single dashboard. The reason I recommend this approach instead of just building a single formula is that it's a lot easier to build and manage your dashboard by breaking it down into smaller chunks. It also makes it a lot easier to make changes to your formulas and maintain them in the long run. I always encourage simplicity over complexity because why should we complicate our lives if we don't have to, right? Okay, now let's add these formulas to our database. But first, let's hide the accounts and opportunities relations to keep the dashboard cleaner. The first formula will represent the total number of customers. So let's name this one total customers. Since all of our properties are formula properties, to make things quicker, we can just duplicate this property and rename it to reflect the remaining metrics. So next we have total prospects. Then we have open deals, database records, open deals, open pipeline this month, all open pipeline, revenue 1 this month, revenue lost this month. Then we have won versus lost. And lastly, we have the dashboard formula. Okay, let me just switch the all open pipeline and open pipeline this month, and we're good to go. Now that we have all of our placeholders ready, let's start designing our formulas. If you watched any of the previous videos where I talked about formulas, you know that I'm a big fan of variables and that I use them in 95% of my formulas. I will not use them if the formula is very simple, but as soon as I have more than one line of code, I will leverage variables to keep my code clean. If you're not familiar with variables yet, I strongly recommend watching the video where I explain the purpose of variables and how to use them to write better, cleaner, and more easily maintainable code in Notion. I dropped the link to the video in the description below. Okay, so the total customers and total prospects formulas come from the accounts database. So basically what we need to do is connect to the accounts database and filter out only records that are categorized either as customers or prospects, and then count how many of them there are. So for the total customers formula, we will select the accounts property and use the filter function and set the condition to current relationship equals customer. This formula now shows all of the customer records, as you can see from the formula editor UI. To count these records, we will use the length function. And click done. For prospects, we will use the exact same formula and just change the filter condition to current relationship equals prospect. So accounts, filter, current relationship equals prospect. And let's count them with the length function. Now the remaining formulas will be connected to the opportunities database, excluding the dashboard formula, of course, which will just combine the different formulas we define in the sales analytics database. So next we have the open deals database records formula. So this formula is actually a supporting formula which will make the open deals and open pipeline formulas a lot easier to write. This property will basically extract all related deals from the opportunities database and return a list of database records that represent open deals. Now let's head over to the opportunities database first. If we check our open pipeline, you will see that we have 5 open deals. And if we check the filters, you will see that we categorize open deals as all deals that are not closed won or closed lost. We have to replicate that in our formula. We will use a very similar approach we used to get the total customers and prospects. But instead of the accounts database, we will just leverage the opportunities database instead. So let's first select the opportunities relation and apply the filter function. Our first condition is that the state should not be closed won. So current stage does not equal closed won. To add the second condition, we will add 2 AND symbols which represent the AND operator. And our second condition is that the stage should not be closed lost. So current stage is not closed lost. So basically with this formula, we are saying return all database records from the opportunities database that are neither closed won nor closed lost. And as you can see, there are 5 database records as we saw in the opportunities database. So now that we extracted all of the records that fit our criteria for open deals, we'll use this data for extracting information about these records. We will start with open deals, which is basically just counting the number of open deals records. So let's select the open deals database records property. And apply the length function to count the number of records. The formula returns the number 5, which corresponds to the number of records we have in the open deals database records property. Next, we have the open pipeline, which represents the total amount of our open deals. So we will just select the open deals database records property again and use the map function to pull the information about the amounts. Now, if you don't know the map function, the easiest way I found to explain it is to just compare it with the filter function. So both functions allow you to tap into a related database, which in our case is the opportunities database. The filter function allows you to define a condition to only extract certain database records from that related database. So the filter function returns actual database records as we've done with the open deals database records property. The map function, on the other hand, can extract information from the related database records. If you'd like to know the total amounts of the related database records, you can do that using the map function. You can also use a combo of the filter and map functions to extract information from a filtered list of records like we're doing in our example. Okay, so now that you know how the map function works, let's finalize the formula. So to extract the total amount, let's write current amount. And as you can see, what this does is it returns a list of amounts. But what we actually want to do is extract the summed total amount of all open deals. So to do that, we will just add the sum function at the end of the expression. Let's convert this into currency. For example, I will use US dollars. Okay. And let's continue with the next formula. So up until now, I have not been using variables because the formulas were fairly simple. But for the remaining formulas, which are a bit more complex, I will use the lets function, which allows you to define multiple variables in a single formula and then use those variables to build the final result. We'll start with the open pipeline this month formula. This formula represents the total amount of all open deals this month. So let's start by selecting the lets function from the formula editor UI. And next, we'll add comments to our code just to outline the process and break down our formula so it's easier to read. To add a comment, write /**, write your comment, and close it with */. Now, since there's no function that holds the information for the current month, in our case that is December of 2023, we will have to tell the formula editor what we consider as this month. So in this first part, we will create a variable that will extract the information about the current month. And then in the second part of our formula, we will extract the open pipeline amount for this month. So let's add a comment to reflect that. Okay, so under this month comment, let's add our first variable. To extract the current month, we will use a combo of the now function, which holds the information about the current date time, and the format date function, which allows us to manipulate the format of the date. So let's name this variable this month and write now format date and use the YY format to extract the month and year from the current time. We could have also used any other format as long as it extracts only the month and year and nothing else. So for example, YYYY. Now let's go ahead and define the open pipeline for this month. So we'll go under the open pipeline this month comment, and we'll first extract all open deals for this month. So let's name this variable open deals this month. We will use the open deals database records property again and apply a filter. As the filtering condition, we will choose the close date. Current close date. Now to compare this date with the this month variable, we first have to convert it to the same format. So we'll use the format date function, use the YY format, and compare this to the this month variable. If you used a different format in the this month variable, make sure that you use the same one here to be able to compare the dates. Then, to extract the total amount of our pipeline for this month, we will use our filtered list, which we defined with our open deals this month variable. We will map the amounts and then just sum them up in the end. Okay, we will use the open deals this month variable, then the map function, current amount, and then just sum it up. And now to show the value of the pipeline amount, we will just use the pipeline amount variable. Let's convert this into US dollars and continue to the next formula. For the remaining metrics, we are no longer interested in our open pipeline, but rather in our closed deals, either won or lost. First, we'll create a formula to show our revenue won for this month. We'll start by selecting the let's function and start defining the variables. We will add 3 comments to outline the process. In the first part, we will extract the current month again. So let's write this month. Then in the second one, we will extract deals won this month. And in the last one, we will extract revenue won this month. So let's go back to our first comment, add some spacing below it, and start with the this month variable. Like before, we will use the now function in combination with the format date function and set MYY as the format. Next, we want to extract the all-time won deals by tapping into the opportunities database. Let's name this variable won deals. Then select the opportunities relation from the editor UI, apply the filter function, and set the current stage to closed one. So this is our first filter. To extract deals won in this month, we will apply a second filter using a new variable. So let's name this one deals this month. For this variable, we will use the previous variable, so deals. Then we will apply the filter function and use the current close date as the filtering condition. To extract records from this month, we will have to compare the close date with the this month variable. To do that, we will first have to format the close date to the appropriate format. So we will apply the format date function, use the MMYY format, and then compare it to this month. And lastly, to extract the revenue won this month, we'll just leverage the deals this month variable, use the map function, and pull the amounts. Lastly, we will sum those amounts using the sum function. Let's convert this into US dollars as well, and continue to the revenue loss this month formula. To extract revenue loss this month, we'll use the exact same approach as we did with the revenue won and just extract lost deals instead. So let's start by selecting the let's function and adding our comments. So this month. Next we have deals lost this month. And revenue lost this month. All right, so let's first define the this month variable using the now function and the format date function, and we will use the MMYY format. Next, let's go under the deals lost this month comment and filter out closed lost opportunities using the stage equals closed lost filter. Lost deals. Tap into the opportunities database and filter it by the current stage equals closed lost. To get lost deals this month, we will use the lost deals variable and apply a filter where current close date in the right format, of course, using the format date function equals this month. And lastly, to extract revenue lost this month, we will say revenue lost this month. We will use the lost deals this month variable, map the amounts, and sum these amounts up. Now, to display the revenue lost this month value, we'll just write the revenue lost this month variable. And now for the final formula before we tackle the dashboard, we will extract how many deals we won in total, so not just this month, but all time won deals. This is a great metric to see your overall success in customer acquisition. So to get this metric, we will first have to extract the total number of opportunities. So let's start by using the let's function and adding a comment. So total number of opportunities. Then we will have to extract the total number of won opportunities. And lastly, we will calculate the ratio with 1 decimal precision. So 1 in percentage. To extract the total deals, we'll use the opportunities property and count the records using the length function. Total deals, opportunities, length. To extract the deals that we have won, we'll use the opportunities property again. So total won, opportunities, apply the filter function and select the current stage equals closed won as the filtering condition. To count the number of won opportunities, we'll just use the length function. And lastly, we will calculate how many of total deals we successfully closed. So let's name this one won versus lost. To get that ratio, let's divide our total won variable with the total deals variable. This formula would show the result with all 10 decimals, which is not really what we want, right? So to resolve this, we'll create a new variable called 1 decimal ratio. And if we want to show the result with 1 decimal, we will first have to multiply the won versus lost variable by 1,000. So 1 versus lost multiplied by 1,000. Then we'll have to round this number, so let's enclose this in brackets and add the round function. And lastly, we will divide all of this by 1,000. Now, I know that this seems a bit confusing because we first multiplied by 1,000 and then divided by the same number. The reason I did that is because if I only use the round function, the result will be rounded to the nearest integer, so a whole number. That is why we first multiply our ratio with 1,000, then round it, and lastly divide it by 1,000 to get the 1 decimal precision. Okay, now let's convert this number into a percent. And continue to our last formula, which will allow us to build the final dashboard. Now, in this formula, we will do a few different steps. So let's just start by using the let's function and filling in the comments for each step. First, we will define the currency. You might be wondering why we're specifying the currency again if we already have the currency defined in the properties. The reason for that is that when you pull information from another property or another database, you are actually pulling in raw data. So what we're getting here is basically just the number and not the formatted number. Consequently, we'll just have to specify the format in which we want this information to be presented again. Next, we will specify the styling. Then we'll specify some formatting variables. And lastly, we will specify how the dashboard should look like. So let's go ahead and define our first variable, which is currency. I will use the US dollar symbol, but feel free to use whatever symbol corresponds to your data. Next, we'll head over to the style section. Now, for styling, we will just go all out to show you all the different options you have for styling. I love using variables for styling because if you ever change your mind and want to change a particular style, you can just change the styling variable and the changes will be reflected everywhere where you've applied this particular style. So we'll start with the style for our headers. So we'll call this one style header, add square brackets, and apply the bold and underline style to it. Make sure to enclose the styles in square brackets, otherwise the formula won't work. The square brackets basically tell the editor to interpret the content inside the brackets as a list. Next, we'll define the style for our total customers property. So let's call this one style customer and make it bold and brown. Then for prospect, so style prospect, we'll make this one bold and orange. Then let's define the style for all open deals. So style open deals. Let's make this one bold and yellow. Then let's define one for all open pipeline. Style all open pipeline. And make it bold and green. Then for all open pipeline this month, we'll make this one blue and bold. And next we have style for revenue 1 this month. Which will be bold and purple. Then we have style revenue lost this month. And we'll make this one bold and red. And lastly, we have the won versus lost style. And we'll make this one bold and pink. Good. Now there are many other styling options out there, like formatting the text as code or adding a background and so on. So feel free to play with this a little bit to find your style. If you like keeping things minimalistic, you can just define one variable instead of all the different ones that I did and name it style metrics or style text or something like that. Now let's add some formatting variables just to keep things efficient and so that we don't have to manually write the same formula over and over again. First, we'll add a symbol variable which will have the value of an arrow. You can also use any other symbol as well. Keeping the symbol as a variable is super useful if you ever decide to change it, because you can just change it here once and the change will be reflected everywhere where you've used this symbol. The second variable that we're going to define in terms of formatting is the spacing variable, because it's just a lot easier to define it once and then select it everywhere you need it from the UI, as opposed to writing it manually in each row, which is quite tedious. So let's name this one spacing and give it a value of \n character. The \n character basically allows you to start a new row. And now for the last part, we just need to put everything together. I typically advise to test all of your variables before you start writing the final expression. But since these variables are practically just strings of text, we don't need to do some extensive testing here. So let's just take a quick look that everything looks okay and that you didn't forget any of the parentheses or brackets. Okay, everything looks good. Let's start with the accounts header. So just write accounts, and then to apply the style, use the style function and the respective variable. So in this case, I'm going to use the style header variable. Now I'm going to add spacing and head over to the new row. Next, we'll display the total customers and apply the customer's style to it. Here we also have to display the total number of customers. So let's add that property and let's add double spacing here. So we can do that by using the repeat function, and as the first argument, we're going to be specifying what we want to repeat. So in our case, we want to repeat the spacing variable. And in the second argument, we want to specify how many times we're repeating the first argument. So in our case, I want to repeat it twice. Next, we'll show the total prospects information, apply the style function and the style prospect variable, followed by the total prospects property. And let's apply double spacing here as well. Good. Now we have the accounts part of the dashboard built, and next we will add the opportunities header and apply the header style to it. Style and style header. Here we're just going to apply single spacing and continue to the next row. Next we have open deals, style, and let's apply the open deals styling, and add double spacing here. Followed by all open pipeline, style, open pipeline variable, and let's add the all open pipeline property. Here we will add a single spacing. Now, if you've been following the editor UI, you might have noticed that I'm missing a value here. So let's go ahead and correct that. We have open deals, which is this row, and let's add the open deals property to it. Like this. Okay, and now we're ready to continue. Open pipeline this month. Add the style to it. Followed by the open pipeline this month property and single spacing. Then we have revenue 1 this month, revenue 1 this month style, plus revenue 1 this month property, and single spacing. Followed by revenue lost this month, revenue lost this month style, and the revenue lost property, followed by single spacing. And lastly, we have the 1 versus lost. Apply the 1 versus lost style and the 1 versus lost property. Now for the 1 versus lost property, we will have to multiply this value by 100. The reason for that is that whenever we are pulling data from another property or database, as I mentioned earlier, we are pulling raw data. So if you remember, the raw data is actually a decimal number that we then displayed or formatted as a percentage. So let's enclose it in square brackets so that we can calculate and apply the percent symbol in the end. Now let's click done and see the final result. So if you noticed, we forgot to apply the currency symbols here on these values. So let's just go ahead and correct that. So we have open deals here. We'll start with all open pipeline, add the currency variable, and we have the open pipeline this month. We have revenue lost this month and revenue 1 this month. And then let's just add double spacing here, just to keep things a bit cleaner. We'll use the repeat function, and that should be it now. Perfect. Okay, so now everything looks good. So the last part is just to display this as a dashboard using the gallery view. Let's click on the 3 dots, select layout, choose gallery, change the card preview to none, and then go under properties and click on the eye icon next to the dashboard property. Now to show this dashboard on the main page, we will just copy the link to the gallery view, go to the sales analytics page, delete this and just paste the database view here. Let's hide the database title, and that's it. Congrats, you now have your very own sales analytics dashboard in Notion that will show you all of the important CRM data that you need to grow and scale your business. And here's the really cool thing about the method that I showed you today. It can actually be used to summarize any type of data connected to the analytics database. So for example, in my task management template, I use the same method to create a personal assistant, which keeps you on top of important things like how many tasks you have that are overdue, how many are due this week, and how many you have left to do for the day. So basically you can use this method to either analyze past data and to stay on top of things in your personal or professional life. If you're interested to see the personal assistant in action, I've included the link to the task management template in the description below. That's it for now. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Ben's channel. If you have any questions about the video or the formulas, just drop a comment down below. And if there's any specific content you'd like Ben and I to cover, don't hesitate to let us know in the comments as well. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.